little bit nipply. Ooh. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
In 3, 2, 1, we're back and we've got a blue wall. How you doing? You got the leathers on, looking good.
Anything for art.
Hey.
You're gonna have to brave this, these Arctic conditions.
Okay, very good. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Nothing a beer can't fix. Here's what it is. Have you watched the film Wolves? Don't answer that. I know you have. Okay, now what do you think?
Well, first of all,
explain what Wolves is.
Wolves.
Wolves.
Well, I think it's a reference to Fixers.
Who's in it?
Oh, sorry. Messrs. Pitt and Clooney.
Brad Pitt, George Clooney. Speak up, it's windy. Go on.
You picked a fine day to film this. Wolves is a synonym for professional fixers,
right?
Which is a synonym itself for people who clean up messes,
right?
And I don't mean housekeepers. Well, housekeepers of sorts,
okay,
but to clean up,
things.
Messes.
Anyway, the point is, we watched this film.
Yeah.
We're going to review it a bit, but then we're going to expand it to something even greater and bigger. Okay.
Which is what? What hair dye Mr. Pitt and Clooney used in this?
Yes.
I've analyzed it very, very concisely.
The hair dye, exactly.
I have broken it down. I have deconstructed it, and it's interesting because my initial hair dye podcast episode, identified about five or six,
claiming it as your own now. Very good.
Sorry, that we co-authored. Okay. Identified around 5 or 6 different variants.
Yes.
But there are more.
Okay, fine.
There are more.
There are plenty more.
But
go on. The top 5.
These are the top 5.
No,
but go on.
first of all, we'll get into what we're going to get into apart from the hair dye later. First of all, I want to know what you thought about the movie.
Well, first of all, let me ask you. Let me be the interviewer for a second. What is the movie about?
Okay, so you kind of touched on it. It's about 2 fixer guys.
Yes.
It's a bit of a buddy movie, right?
Correct, yes.
2 guys who kind of come together. They're rivals to begin with, but obviously they find a lot of common ground. They get mixed up in something that's far bigger than them, with rivals coming at them at all angles, so they have no choice but to work together.
Yeah.
And, it's a film that has been done many a time before, obviously the blueprint of which is
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, so it's basically a modern retelling of that. Okay? Right? Good?
I think that's a pretty good assessment. All set within maybe a 12-hour time frame.
Yes, we won't give the plot away too much.
No.
You should watch it for yourselves and let us know what you think. By the way, subscribe, comment, like. Thank you. But what did you think of the film yourself?
I think the film was fair to average.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
There is a repartee, if you like, between the 2 actors who are obviously very good friends
in
off
real
screen.
IRL.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? And who have co-starred in 3 Oceans films.
Mm-hmm.
And actually their best collaboration.
Yes.
Do you remember what that was?
I would
It's not Return of
say
the Killer Tomatoes.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Was Brad Pitt in that?
Well, Brad Pitt's in that for about 5 seconds. He's a contestant on the blind date show, the dating show, and that film is directed by Clooney and stars Clooney to a certain extent as well.
A great movie.
One of my favorites.
A great movie.
By the way.
All right. We should have put it in the underrated list.
Yes, we should have.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
anyway,
your underrated list.
Fine.
Okay, actually, it's Burn After Reading.
Burn After Reading. I haven't watched that, by the way.
The Coen brothers
I didn't know Clooney
film
was in
that I think came after their, Oscar-winning No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Okay, and great film, but I thought they share basically 1 second of screen time together. And actually, I'm not going to give it away because that's a spoiler.
Okay, can we focus on Wolves?
Yes, Wolves. Okay, so
what did you think of it? You thought it was good.
I think it was basically standard, average, caper fare.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing more, nothing less.
And remember, this is a streamer. It would play in very few cinemas, right?
We sought to watch it in the cinema.
We did want to watch it in the cinema. We wanted to get the whole cinema experience.
We could have watched it in Ruislip.
We could have.
But it was too far.
Okay. Very good. Anyway, so the thing is, you thought it was okay. I thought it started off a little bit better. I felt the film never really had a climax. It alluded to a lot of things to begin with, like, this might turn into something with a twist or blah, blah, blah. But at the end, nothing really happened. It was a bit of a damp squib, as they say.
Interesting.
Now, as I always say, films come out in 2s, and there's another film that you should watch called The Instigators, which is with Matt Damon.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Has come out at the same time, and Casey Affleck, not Ben Affleck. Now, this has basically got the same premise as Wolves, but I think it's done far better.
Really?
Anyway, yes, watch that. But going back to Wolves, yes. So this film, I don't know, it hasn't done very well.
First of all, I saw that there were suggestions that the budget was $200 million.
Where did that
with
go?
$35 million
Probably in the hair dye.
I know, yeah. But that would be slightly over budget in my opinion.
Sure.
Okay, but anyway, $200 million. And I don't know. This has been debunked by Clooney in particular.
Love a good debunking.
I love a good debunking. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know where all that
And a
money
bit of
went
jiggery
into.
pokery.
I'm trying to be serious here.
The debunking jiggery
I'm
pokery is the
trying.
best
I'm
combo.
trying.
Okay,
I'm
go
trying.
on,
I'm
go on,
I'm
go
quarterbacking
on.
this.
Go on.
I'm quarterbacking this. Okay. So what I like about it, okay, is that you've got basically two buddies getting together, and I think.
Well, they're not buddies to begin with. Oh,
No.
IRL buddies.
IRL buddies, okay? And I think obviously most audience members who watch this film, who know these two guys, know that they're having a good old time.
Yes, exactly.
All right? And, they kind of like, there is like, they're movie stars. You see them on screen. I think, it saves, that's why, what Hitchcock once said, which is, why do you cast Cary Grant in North by Northwest instead of an unfamous actor? It saves you 20 minutes of exposition.
Right.
You immediately what
they're about.
You know what they're about. You have an emotional connection with the
Exactly.
actors. As soon as you see these guys pop on screen,
Yeah.
which is in the first 5 minutes,
Yeah.
okay, because they go and like they turn up at the scene of the crime, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, they're kind of like a mismatched pair who don't like each other, they don't know each other, and they're like kind of bickering at each other through the first kind of 20 minutes. That's a very, very long scene for a film that's about 90 minutes of runtime.
Listen,
but,
point being,
it's the best scene in the film. Okay?
Absolutely.
And because, you know why? Because it's almost as if these guys are kind of like going off script, talking amongst us, like you and I.
Yes,
But to a far
exactly.
bigger audience.
Yes.
I mean, Pondering Ponytail, bigger audience than Wolves.
Well,
I mean it that way.
Hopefully one day. Now the thing is,
377
No,
subscribers?
any
Oh,
bloody
right.
dreams. We're not there yet, mates.
All right, anyways.
Okay, so here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Beyond the film and how it does and what you think of it and all that, what's quite good about it is that it's a original IP. Sure, it's based on Butch Cassidy and has
Okay.
that blueprint,
Yeah.
but the story is original. Now, a lot of what we've seen recently are films based on IPs that have been around a long time.
I know
So
you're
we
good.
have like Dune, we have the Marvel films, we have Batman, we have a lot of that content. And we went through a change over the last 10 years where, once upon a time, the movie star was the draw.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Oh, it's the latest Tom Cruise film, or it's the latest Robert De Niro film, it's the latest
Pauly Shore film.
Jim Varney film, right? People went to the cinema for those things. But soon that
Turned on its
devolved.
head, yeah.
That devolved or evolved or however you want to look at it. And soon it was, let's go to the next Batman film or let's go watch the next Marvel movie. Now, I say this film, Wolves, is trying to
Throw
harken back
Yeah.
to those days.
Yeah.
Does it work? Remains to be seen. But do you think,
Yeah.
this is my question to you,
Go on.
do you even think we can go back to those days where the movie star is the draw? Because this Wolves doesn't seem to be working. It didn't even come out in it wasn't it wasn't in many cinemas at all.
And I think
Especially here in the UK.
I think essentially the fact that it went almost directly to a streaming service is a symptom and a metaphor for the fact that, movie stardom is well and truly in the bin.
Really?
And it's been left in the scrap heap of history.
So what does that mean for Alex Caspian?
I think you should consider a different career path. But thankfully, I'm here to help you along the way. Okay?
Content creation.
Content creation. And I think you're absolutely right. And actually, it just came to me now, like an epiphany.
Right.
As the Boogles said in the early 80s, video killed the radio star.
Okay.
Today, I think social media has killed the movie star.
Right.
Now the question is, why did this happen? How did this happen?
Not social media, streaming. Basically digitalization.
Digitalization killed
the movie star. Right.
Weird Al Yankovic should remix that. Actually.
Okay.
You remember?
Yes.
He did a number
By
of
the way,
good.
there's a good biopic of his.
Is there?
You should watch that. We'll review that next, starring Daniel Radcliffe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, why did this happen?
Mm-hmm.
I think that now, when we were growing up, all those years ago, I think the way that they, what do you call it? I think the way that
framed Yeah.
the way that well, let's just talk about films coming out. We're talking about film stars. The way that films came out was a very special experience. Okay. And we remember it not so long ago. I think this probably ended about 15 years ago, when a film's release would first get read about in things like Empire magazine. Okay, you'd read about it in something like that. Then you get a teaser trailer at a film that had a big box office opening. 3-4 months later, you'd get a more comprehensive trailer, teasing you a little bit more. You'd build up excitement, you build up suspense, you build up anticipation for it. And then finally, opening weekend comes out, everybody's rushing to the cinema. It's like, it's an event. Going to the cinema was an event, I think, for since Chaplin and up until maybe 2012, around that time. And so we're talking something like 70, 80 years of film going. And what was so special about going to the cinema back then was that there was a discernible difference in the quality of production, acting, editing, movie making, versus, I think, what you saw on television. There was a huge divide in the way that films look versus how television looked, in the production value and so on and so forth, right? And I think that's what made going to the cinema a special treat. Also, the other thing that was very, very exciting about it was that, having been teased about a new film's release for maybe 6 to 9 months before its release, built up excitement. If the film was good, it was forever etched in your memory. It would forever, you'd forever be nostalgic about it, as we are about so many films that we watched in the 80s and 90s and 2000s and so on.
Jiggly.
Amongst them, yeah. By the way,
Battlefield Earth.
Yeah, and also for me, my favorite of all.
Which one?
Was not just Weekend at Bernie's 2, but Crying Freeman.
Crying Freeman.
If you haven't watched Crying Freeman, watch Crying Freeman. You'll know why afterwards.
Mark the Coscos, we salute you.
All right. In any case, the other thing that was very special was, and which has been lost today, is that if you didn't catch the film in the cinema, in a kind of condensed window of time,
right,
the film would be gone for, I don't know what the period of time was between the time the film left the cinema and it was available to rent. 9-10 months. So it made the the need for watching it exciting. And by the way, one of the great things when we were young was pirate videos.
Right.
If you got a pirate video,
don't know what you're talking about.
We're gonna get cancelled. Shit.
Anyway, go on.
But,
so
okay.
listen,
anyways, and then by the way,
what the hell are you getting at?
What I'm trying to say is that it was the way things came out, the way that they were marketed.
Yes,
whatever.
exactly.
And then, by the way, if you don't rent, there's a period between renting it and then it being able to buy on VHS.
The renting, the waiting.
All right. Today, okay.
Yes.
You know why films aren't special?
Why?
Because
they're streamed.
No. It's not just that. There's no announcement about them before they come out.
Yes.
They're kind of shot out of. They're shot out of a cannon.
Not necessarily true.
Not much of an announcement.
Like June, for example, had huge anticipation. June 2, especially off the back of June 1, there are still reasons to go to the cinema. There are still event films. Okay. They still exist.
Okay. Rarely.
Bond films.
Bond film is maybe one of the only ones,
okay.
And by the way, that's also become diluted.
Films, okay,
that's also become
June films of late. Okay, what else? I'll tell you another one.
Go on.
Christopher Nolan films, Oppenheimer, Barbie, this, that. These are events.
Nothing on the scale of the climate 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Nothing on the same level. All right. So I'm just saying. Okay. And the other thing
I'm just saying there are exceptions.
The other thing I was going to say, the fact that everything is now available on your phone to watch and rewatch and so on and so forth, again dilutes the value of watchability. All right. In anything. And so I think that's one thing. I think the other key element is that growing up, how you defined a movie star. Well, they were inaccessible, they were elusive. I mean, the word star, anyway, what is a star? I mean, how did that come to be? Star is something, out in the universe, out of reach. Okay? Today, they're every move. They've become demystified. And I think that's also taken away from their...
After 20 minutes, good point.
I was building towards it. Okay. Didn't you remember what one of our key subscribers said? Let him cook. Let him cook. This is a big casserole. All right, it's a casserole.
Fine.
It's got different
Point
ingredients in it. And
Point
I'm
made. You made your point.
All right, fine. So they've
You're
been
cooking the cook.
They've been demystified.
King.
They've been demystified,
Yes.
right? Every time you look on your phone,
Yeah.
you see that this guy went to the grocery store, this guy fell out of a taxi, this guy's slobbering drunk, this guy's in rehab, this guy's dating this person, etc., etc., etc. They have become, they're one of us.
Yes.
And you know what they say? Never meet your heroes.
Right.
All right. So I've given you my soliloquy.
Okay.
Over to you.
All right. Well, I say in a lot of ways you are correct. However, while there may not be this draw for movie stars anymore, there is still a draw, as I had touched on earlier, a draw for directors, let's say.
Yeah, I agree
so
with you.
people still go to the cinema when it's a certain, like I said, Christopher Nolan film, or Denis Villeneuve film, or whoever it may be.
Wes Anderson.
Thank you very much. So there is still that draw. Now, you're right, because everything is so omnipresent, whether you're streaming or watching on your phone or this or that, everything is everywhere all the time. You don't necessarily need to go to the cinema. Okay? However, films are being made on a big scale, whether it's through IMAX, where you can only watch certain things in a cinema. Okay, and that's why in a lot of ways, which I think is quite detrimental, cinemas are like, some films are like now 3 hours long, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like trying to like make it worth your while, which I don't think is the correct move, right? But anyway, what's interesting is, the other day I was on Netflix, right? Or I was reading an article about Netflix. And this is how we've come full circle. There was a random bot. There's talk of them having a random button on Netflix, because I don't know if you're aware, but like many people, like you, like me, like we spend hours just trying to figure out what to watch, right? And so now
They used to call that channel surfing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in a way, we've come full circle.
Okay.
Like there's so many streaming services, services
Yeah,
with so much choice. You don't know what to watch. They have to put a random button in to pick something for you. Well, then you're back to square one. You're back to cable TV.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so maybe if that happens, we might go back to a period where the movie star becomes a draw. We might go full circle again. However, now we are witnessing the rise of AI.
Correct.
So that could also change everything.
Have you seen me in the reboot of Miami Vice?
You?
Yes.
No, I
Or
haven't.
yourself in the reboot of Out of Sight
Listen.
as George Clooney.
Okay. Why are you referencing things that we can't demonstrate? We can maybe use some screenshots.
Use the screenshot. I've sent you the
This
screenshot.
is why you'll never. You have to be aware of what's being said. Anyway, so that's the point, okay? So I think it's still not beyond us to go back to this movie star like phase where we go to the cinema for a certain actor, you right?
I also think one thing that
Alex Caspian being the main one.
the only one.
Hey.
You are the last movie star.
Ah.
Have you seen that film, The Last Movie Star, with Burt Reynolds?
No.
2017. I think it was his parting shot before he left us.
Right.
One of the great movie stars of the 70s.
Okay.
You should watch it.
I will.
Underrated fare. But listen, one of the other things that I think has happened is that, and it's absolutely true that people now go to the cinema for the director.
Yes.
And I agree, and for and they're selling films
Or for the IP, or for the story.
exactly.
Or
And I
whatever the film
think
may be.
now the IP is so lazy.
Yeah.
Never mind
Continue,
Marvel.
I'll be back.
Never mind Marvel.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, but they will actually use, for example, they will reboot something that was popular 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Incidentally,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we can go over
And it's never better than the
no,
original.
it's not just that. Whether
Yeah.
it's a reboot of a TV series, a computer game,
Yes.
a film,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, just to say that it is Thomas Crown Affair, although that was a good reboot, but whatever you want to say, Miami Vice or the reboot of Magnum PI on TV, anything you want to say, right, is what do you call it? These reboots, it's literally just name recognition that they're
Yeah.
selling.
Yeah.
The quality behind it almost kind of incidental and irrelevant.
Yeah.
And that is actually like a waste of art, in my opinion, a waste of time. The other thing I was going to say is that I think what's happened is something also a bit more subtle that people haven't sort of necessarily acknowledged very conscientiously, which is that television, the quality of writing in television, I think, has reconditioned viewers who love film to find a film's 2-hour runtime now not substantive enough.
Well, I'm saying it's too much.
Well, okay, let me just give you an example, right? Some of the great TV shows of our time.
Yes, but the difference is, with a TV show, you usually watch it in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, I agree.
So you can go to the bathroom, you can make a cup of tea, you can have a beer, blah, blah, blah. You can't do that in a theater.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is now, I think now, plot ideas are sent to studios, okay?
Right.
And I think they feel now that maybe like in 1995, this would have made for a great film, okay? But what they want to do now is they're going to repackage it into a 10-part series. So, for example, I mean, I was watching yesterday, for example, A Few Good Men. One of the great courtroom legal thrillers of our time. I don't think that film could be commissioned and made today. I think it would sink without trace, okay, as a film. I think if they were to reboot it, and by the way, it's very possible they will use that IP, A Few Good Men, they will reboot it, like they did Presumed Innocent. Presumed Innocent, which we touched upon in one of our previous episodes, was an unbelievable legal thriller adapted from Scott Turo's novel, okay, one of his best-selling novels, one of the most anticipated films of 1990, came out, 220 million in the box office, starring Harrison Ford. Great film. Instead of rebooting it today as a film, they rebooted it as a television show starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Okay, and now there's going to be a sequel. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I think now what's happening is that viewers now consider, I think, a film. They've been reconditioned. I think they find a film at 2 hours not substantive enough by way of character development, by way of plot. And I think this has been. You know what I think caused this?
What?
Can I just cause this? I think that 3 shows.
I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say Sopranos, Breaking Bad.
Well done.
And hold on, let me think of
What's the third one? That kind of like broke up the film.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Monopoly.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, film writing, if you like.
What is your third one? Don't tell me.
Political.
Oh, House of Cards?
No. Before that.
Oh, West Wing.
Right?
Of course. Listen, I don't think that's correct. I think you're kind of jumping the shark a little bit on that one. Not that you're even jumping the shark, but you're a step ahead. You know, You're putting the cart before the horse, and the horse is in front of the shark, and then the cart is pulled.
The cart is on the sides.
Exactly.
Right. It's on a lever.
It's the XY axis.
Yeah. With the Venn diagram and the pie chart.
By the way, can I just say I'm very disappointed. You talked about A Few Good Men. You didn't even do an impersonation.
Should I do it now for you?
Do it!
You ever served in an infantry unit, son? Say no, sir.
No, sir.
You ever served in a forward area?
No.
You ever put your life in another man's hands?
No, sir.
Ask him to put your life in yours?
No, sir.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Say crystal.
Crystal.
Let me just go to the next bit, because this is my favorite one of all time. Can I clear my throat for a second? Hold on, here we go. All right.
Get ready for this.
Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to guard men with guns. Who's going to do it? You Lieutenant Weinberg, I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago, you curse the Marines. You have the luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, saved lives, and that my existence, while incomprehensible to you, saved lives. You don't want the truth, because deep down you want to talk about it at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of life spent defending something. Use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the freedom that I provide and then questions the manner in which I provided. I would rather you said thank you and be on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you were entitled to. Ask me if I ordered the code red.
Did you order the code red?
I did the job that was... Ask me again.
Did you order the code red?
You're goddamn right I did!
Oh, very good.
That's movie star. That's Jack Nicholson movie star extraordinaire.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Not drawing anybody to the cinema
Okay,
anymore.
but today, if they
Yes.
if they recommissioned A Few Good Men, it would not
Yes.
be made as a remake,
No.
starring Justin Bieber as Nicholson and Zac
Exactly.
Efron as Cruz.
True.
Okay, but they would do it as a television show,
Exactly.
a 10-part television show.
Yes.
And maybe it's just because, you know, we're that much older now, so we remember the film, we carry it with us, we have that kind of nostalgic feel towards films from our childhood. That's normal, right? But and maybe for contemporary audiences they want it as a TV show. But I think it's been the reconditioning. I think Breaking Bad, these breakthrough shows, Sopranos.
I agree with you. I think they've raised the bar
And
of
like-
TV. I don't
Massively,
and have
massively.
impacted cinema, but I don't think their duration. These are different. There are different verticals. They're different products. You can't really compare them. A film is a standalone piece. Okay.
Yeah,
a
but
TV show has different parts. So there's that difference. Now, maybe it's impacted cinema insofar as you have longer durations, but the real truth of it is financial. If you're paying X amount of money and the prices are through the roof, when you calculate popcorn and drinks and blah, 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 you know, you have to take out a second mortgage. They're like, okay, let's make it worth their while and make it a 3-hour film. But in a way, they're shooting themselves in the foot, by making it so long. Because nobody wants to sit around for 3 hours without being able to get up and go to the bathroom or make a cup of tea or, like, you know, pause and, you know, speak on the phone for 5 minutes.
I don't know. I mean, I think now the fact that everything is so accessible to everyone all the time very quickly has what you call it, has, as I said before, has demystified what was special about films and film stars.
Right. Yes.
Okay. And we're gonna go on to this subject next, which is Clooney.
Now?
Yeah.
No, we're not going to go. No. What's up?
Clooney and Pitt.
Okay. We're coming full circle. You're bringing it back. Okay.
Can they kind of keep the kind of last movie star mystique alive?
Well,
I mean,
Tom
Cruise is still, by the way.
Ultimately,
Okay.
they are an endangered species.
They are an endangered species. Well
and
done.
Clooney and Pitt are amongst the last who will be hunted down by the likes of Alex Caspian.
Okay. Cruise among them. Who else would you consider still in that bracket? Whose name can? I mean, Clooney and Pitt. You actually answered the question. You know, Clooney and Pitt, both their names over a billboard, still couldn't open a film in the cinema. Okay. Exactly. So, you know, Cruise still can, but I think you know what Cruise is doing. I think Cruise is basically only releasing films that are mandatory for the big screen.
And Cruise has understood that if you're going to go to the cinema, I need to offer something more. I need to offer death-defying stunts.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like
you
that.
can't watch
not just wisecracks.
Yeah, right.
Like freaking Clooney or like munching chips like Pitt.
Like
that's not going to cut it, mate.
Incan matrimonial head masks.
Although he doesn't eat that much in Wolves.
He drinks a Coke in the beginning.
Yeah. Anyway, that was disgusting. But I found that disgusting.
I liked it.
I didn't like that.
By the way, listen, just
it was a silly film. It wasn't good.
Before we segue, but like
it could have been better.
A small segue.
And by the way, I think they ended. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
They ended with the idea of hopefully this will turn into a franchise,
a sequel. Yeah,
you're dreaming.
Although there's no question about it that there was a an homage the last scene to Butch Cassidy.
Of course.
But
by the way, watch this other film. It's exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah, but better.
Okay. Well,
because it doesn't directly copy it so obviously. But it's a much better film.
Okay, as film stars, Mr. Caspian, as an aspiring film star yourself, okay, just a brief summation of the careers of Pitt and Clooney. You know, what made them film stars? What are their commonalities? What are the differences?
Sorry,
you don't like this question? You want to go off? Okay, you want to
answer
a different question?
We are not going through the biographies.
Not a biography. Not a biography.
What do you want to?
You know, just like like your preference for one or the other.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
What else did I like from Brad Pitt? Can you name some? Because I can't remember.
You've got Seven, Legends of the Fall.
Good.
His best looking film.
Just
Meet Joe Black.
Yeah.
Good Fringe. 7 Years in Tibet. Fight Club.
Yeah, I guess. You can't
Okay.
Whatever.
12 Monkeys.
I think Dated. Quite good.
Okay.
Terry
I'm doing this. I'm just Spy Game.
Whatever. I mean, there's a lot of films. Okay.
Benjamin. Okay. Fine.
Okay. You tell me.
Clooney?
Clooney.
Okay,
Yeah.
Clooney's.
Three Kings.
No, wait. Let me just go first back. First of all, what about Return of the Killer Tomatoes?
Excellent.
His high point.
Exactly.
And it was all going to go downhill from that. Okay. Then From Dusk Till Dawn.
Great.
Okay. Out of Sight.
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
The Peacemaker.
With Kidman.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Badass, by the way, performance by him in that.
Okay.
All right. Then we've got
But ultimately,
Three Kings
this is what it is.
and Perfect Storm.
This is what it is about those two actors, and maybe maybe Pitt a little bit less, but Clooney always plays Clooney in every film.
Yeah. 100%.
You know what
but he
I
does
mean?
it well.
He does it well.
And what is playing Clooney?
Playing Clooney
Yeah.
is trying to be like Alex Caspian
Okay.
at all times.
And playing Pitt,
Is trying to be like this young man
who shall remain nameless.
to my left.
Okay, so
All right.
so
listen,
therefore
enough with the nonsense. We're
All
not
right.
going to get into those
All right.
details, right?
Okay.
So bottom line,
Bottom line.
the death of the movie star, may they rest in peace.
But listen, I'm counting on Top Gun 3 and Top Gun 4 to resurrect this.
We'll see about that.